Season of Plunder brought with it the last of the Light 3.0 subclass reworks, so now Void, Solar, and Arc are all under the same system. Obviously, the season is fairly focused on Arc with it being the latest rework, but there will inevitably be a time where you need or want to switch to a different subclass. There's a dozen different ways to put together your subclass armor and weapons, but in today's video I want to highlight some of the best legendary weapons to pair with each subclass element. If you're a new player, a returning player, or even a Destiny veteran just looking for some new weapons to chase, then this video is for you. Keep in mind that there will always be other combinations that can work with your build, but today I wanted to focus on weapons that are easy to get your hands on. Now before we get into it, I gotta give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Outplayed. Outplayed is a free game capture software that connects directly to your favorite games to capture your most exciting and play-worthy moments. The best part about it is that it all happens automatically without you even having to think. You simply select what type of clips and moments you'd like to capture, and Outplayed does the rest. You'll never miss capturing those aced rounds in Valorant or being the champion in Apex Legends. When you're done gaming, Outplayed pulls up your best highlights and you can instantly share them to Discord or any other social media. Use the link down below to download it today. Huge thanks to Outplayed for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the content. Now let's start off with our Void weapons. One thing I want to mention is that you'll notice that a lot of weapons actually have perks that synergize with any given element. In Void's case, that perk is Repulsor Brace. This is a unique perk that works best with Void subclasses. Whenever you defeat a Void debuffed target, you'll be granted an overshield for 8 seconds. Void is all about debuffing targets, so you can definitely get some use out of this perk, but I don't believe it to be the end-all best perk option for Void subclasses. A lot of Void builds are centered around their grenade abilities, whether you use them to weaken targets or give yourself volatile rounds, or just as a source of added damage and ad clear. Void grenades are very powerful. With that in mind, there are two weapons that I see as S-tier pairings for any Void subclass. The first is the Unforgiven SMG. This is a 750 RPM Void SMG that drops from the Duality dungeon. Now the dungeon is not free to play, but it is endlessly farmable if you have it, so you can farm the dungeon until you get what you want. This weapon has some extremely strong perk combinations. In the third column we have Demolitionist, which is going to help us get our grenade back extremely fast, and we can pair that perk with one of two options in the fourth column. You can go with Adrenaline Junkie, which grants added weapon damage that stacks on weapon or grenade kills, or you can go with Golden Tricorn. This perk grants a 15% damage buff after getting a kill with the weapon, and while that is active, you can follow up with a Void melee or grenade kill to bump that damage increase to an insane 50%. You can refresh this over and over to turn this weapon into an absolute laser. Either way you go with the perks, it's a fantastic addition to any Void build. The second weapon we are looking at is the Funnel Web SMG. This is a 900 RPM Void SMG, and it is a world drop, meaning it's available to all players. This weapon can drop from any legendary or prime engram, or from ranking up at the gunsmith. He even occasionally sells the weapon outright, and a lot of the time it has good perks on it too. Looking at the perk pool, keeping in mind a grenade focused build, we want to aim for Adrenaline Junkie in that fourth column. You can pair this with Subsistence or Perpetual Motion in the third column to round out the weapon and turn it into a Void powerhouse. This also pairs great with any Void build that takes advantage of volatile rounds, as the high rate of fire helps to proc volatile on enemies even faster. Keep an eye out for good rolls on this gun whenever it drops or whenever you see it at the gunsmith. Now moving on to Arc, it's much more straightforward, and you may already have one of these weapons laying around. This season, being Season of Arc 3.0, we finally got our hands on some Arc themed weapon perks. This perk is of course known as Volt Shot, and I like to think of it as a chain lightning kill clip. Whenever we get a kill with our weapon and reload, our next shot will jolt the enemy and cause a huge burst of chain lightning. It's insane for ad clear and works extremely well with any Arc 3.0 build for making things like elemental wells and getting amplified. There's only two primary weapons in the game currently that can get this perk, the Brigand's Law's Sidearm and the Tarnished Metal Scout Rifle. Either way you go, both weapons are very strong and easy to get your hands on this season. You can actually get a great Brigand's Law straight from the season pass this season that comes with the Volt Shot perk. Another huge benefit is that these two weapons are both craftable, meaning you have a direct path to securing your perfect 5 out of 5 god roll with enhanced perks if you choose to do so. Things like Feeding Frenzy and Volt Shot on Brigand's Law is a great combo, as the chain lightning kills will activate Feeding Frenzy for lightning fast reloads. These are tied to Season of Plunder, so keep an eye out for good volt shot rolls on both of these weapons as you play through the current season. A nice bonus is that this perk does technically work with any subclass, so you could use it for chain lightning shenanigans on other subclasses if you wanted to. Don't sleep on these two just because it's a sidearm and a scout. You definitely want to get your hands on these two weapons. And now next up is Solar. Funny enough, with this subclass, we are spoiled for choice when it comes to weapons. The solar weapon perk you are looking for is of course Incandescent. This causes defeated targets to explode in a solar ignition upon death and spread scorch to all surrounding combatants. It's an absolutely insane perk, and it might be the most powerful of all the subclass themed perks, as there is no activation requirement, it's just always active. There are quite a few weapons that can roll with Incandescent, and I encourage you to try them all, but if you were to chase one down, it 100% has to be the Callus mini tool. This SMG is available from the Deerlech Leviathan and the Crown of Sorrow vendor in the Helm. This SMG is absolutely incredible, and like our arc weapons, it's also craftable. I have mine with double enhanced perks, and it's one of my favorite weapons in the entire game. The popular role you'll see is Threat Detector and Incandescent, but personally I like to go with Grave Robber and Incandescent, as all of the solar subclasses have ranged melee abilities and will allow us to reload our weapon instantly. There are other primary weapon options as well, such as Drang, the BXR Battler, and the Staccato 46. Any of these weapons with the Incandescent perk will be a fantastic addition to your solar build. All the weapons in today's video are great weapons to have on hand anytime you are playing that respective subclass, and they are genuinely worthwhile pursuits to go after, as they are all uniquely powerful. There are tons of great exotic weapons to pair with any subclass, but a lot of times our exotic slot is reserved for a special or heavy weapon. Let me know what your favorite energy weapons are to pair down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, a like and subscription is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.